My name is Pat Driscoll. Today I'm going to be presenting on scholarly person presentation to you guys. Thank you all for joining me. Today I'll be going over traits of myself as a scholarly person, my everyday scholarly hero, my academic plan, my professional plan, social justice challenges in my field, education effects on school, financial and professional areas, and a couple stories from my textbook. So what is a scholar to start off? Well, by definition, it's a learned person, a pupil, one who studies, one who has gained mastery of an area, and it's also included in the definition of someone who receives a scholarship. Obviously, kind of what we're pertaining to, but I felt to include it. So, myself as a scholarly person, I will be receiving my undergraduate in less than a month. I've been a student for nearly 19 years of my life. It's a long time. I may be seeking further education to gain mastery in the forms of a project management certification. To kind of fill that definition, I also have held a scholarship and I've received grants for part of my education. So, I get to talk about some heroes. Unfortunately, none of these heroes. But I do have, next please. Can anyone tell me who this guy is? How about now? Anybody?
Stephen Hawking.
Thank you, Kyle. So, Stephen Hawking is my scholarly hero. He studied his undergrad at Oxford University. He received his first class BA honors, and then went to study graduate at Cambridge University, very prestigious schools. As most people know, he was diagnosed with ALS during his graduate studies at Cambridge University. He was given 2 years to live, and as most people would, he kind of became depressed. What is the point? Why waste time with school? And then he kind of just had this vision. He's like, I still have work to do. I am not done with what I want to set out to do, and really gave it his all and tried to finish those things in those 2 years. And kind of slapped that in the face, and he's still alive today and largely active, and has been known for many groundbreaking research and theories. So my academic plan, a little brief summary, is I started off in computer science, which did not last very long. I was not a fan. Most of my undergrad has been composite materials engineering. I changed to individualized studies to refocus this to project management for engineering companies. Along with that, I'm looking at being a sales engineer or an applications engineer. And I felt that overall these changes were the best for who I was and where I wanted to go. And so within the individualized studies program, I've been doing that for about a year, and just taking a couple more business classes, kind of refining that focus. My professional plan, kind of as a student, I worked full-time most of college. I pursued employment and internships. I didn't get the internships I set out to do, but some of the places I was employed left further ties for me in the future, mainly Fastenal. They have a lot of engineering ties. And I'm using my unique degree to kind of find unique paths. And my goal is within 12 months, I hope to be gainfully employed as a sales or application engineer. And if that goal is not met, then I will be looking to get my project management certification this fall or summer. So social justice in the field of engineering. Not much pertains to me. I am a white male. Sad to say that dominates the workforce, 71%. So I will be speaking of the main social justice, at least that I saw. Only contains about 13.8% females. And while this number is pretty bad, we obviously want to see more. There's only 18.4% enrolled females on average in college for engineering-based courses. And so the big thing that they're looking to do is drive back all the way back to grade school. Get females more engaged in these classes early on, because there's always believed that they weren't as interested, but they just actually gave their interest later than boys do. So we're really pushing to reform that. When it comes to pay gap, women make 87% of what men make. Not great. We obviously strive for equality and see equal pay, but the fact that that's 10% higher than the national average of 77% to every dollar, it's not horrible. So there's some work to be done, but it's not by far the worst field I've seen. Now I'll talk to you about Erikson theory of development. You can see this pyramid here. Basically what it is it's 8 stages of life that you gain virtues through for your inner experiences. Right now I'm in the intimacy versus isolation stage, also known as the young adult. And the virtue you get from that is love. And you seek intimate relationships through friends and through a relationship with a partner, girlfriend or boyfriend. And if this is not obtained in your early adult stage, which ends by the age of 40, it leads to isolation. And so some social challenges I had while being a student, these are all about being in school. I was away from my friends, so my family. I had strains from having to drive home to visit, and I was away for the last few years of my father's life, which was pretty hard. And while Erikson theory does not pertain to parental relationships, I felt they're still important for how it affects your social relationships. Now socially, this was a very positive time. Working a lot made things hard. I wasn't always available to do things that my friends want to do, and if I was available, I didn't always have the money. But I made a lot more friends, even though I left a lot in college, and I've started a lot of good relationships with people. Financial challenges. I am a very broke college student. That's never easy, although it is worth it to go through. Paying to travel home, taking time off work, paying for gas. You gotta pay to do stuff with your friends. None of my roommates worked and they all had a lot of money. They'd like to go out for weekend trips in Montana or something. I couldn't do it. And school's very expensive and I'm paying for that on my own. But I think that it has done a lot for me and I don't necessarily regret it. Most of these challenges for a professional came from major changes for what I studied in school, but in my employment during school was helpful, just not directly. Like I never worked for an engineering company or a sales company, and I never got those internships because it's hard to do an internship when you're financially strained. And so making that shift into the real world, I am driven though. I'm really looking forward to making these things happen and using everything I've learned to find a job. And I've been working really hard at that, especially these past few weeks. So I feel like what I have on my resume is solid, even though it's very hard to explain. The degree is kind of hard to explain. I feel I have the tools I need to be successful. And some stories from the text that kind of pertain to just my life. We have the ballerina, and Nicole was a prestigious ballerina. She wanted to try out for the New York Ballet. Parents felt she shouldn't. She said there's no chance. Everyone tries out for it. Don't waste your time. So she got discouraged. She said, well, if I do it and I fail, I've let my parents down, I've let myself down. But what we need to know is that what we see as a failure is only in our head. She worked real hard to get there, and to just try out as a prestigious accomplishment its own. And so why look at it as a failure? And so that's kind of how I felt like with school. Some things I felt a failure. I had to tell my parents, yep, I didn't make it in engineering, but I still learned from that. So it's only a failure if you make it. And the next story is tie sales. This husband was starting a new job and he needed to dress nicely, couldn't afford new ties. So his wife said, you know what, I used to sew, I'm gonna sew my own. People liked it so much that she sold them to the company. She'd just bring a tie cart and sell them to people they work with. And I like it because it took an old skill, refined it for a new purpose, and she took this education, didn't directly apply, She didn't sew to make ties, but she took that, she applied it somewhere else, and was able to make something new from that. And I really like that. And there's my references, and I'd like to thank you all for joining me. Appreciate it.